Greetings, everyone, and welcome. I'm your host, Captain Rye, and today, in honor of Veterans Day, I've decided to put up a World of Warships video. As the battle gets underway here, it is Ice Islands, its epicenter, and I am in the Tier 8 U.S. Heavy Cruiser, Baltimore. The battle is Tier 10, which puts me as a bottom-tier ship in this game. And there's one thing going into this game that really is a bit of an important piece of information. At this point, I'm coming off of a 5-in-a-row losing streak playing in this ship, where I simply have not been able to get a team to cohesify enough to get those caps to shoot the targets necessary. So, bottom tier in the Baltimore. The Baltimore, no one is ever going to accuse this ship of being OP. It's pretty lackluster as far as all of the other Tier 8 heavy cruisers in the game go. It doesn't even have any gimmicks about it. It's just a Tier 8 heavy cruiser.
Enemy force detected.
However, it does have one core advantage, and that advantage is that with the Concealment Expert Commander skill and the Concealment module, you can get the detection range of this ship down to just under 10 kilometers. Which means, with a 10-kilometer radar, if you are spotted, you can pop that radar and instantly find out who's spotting you, which is very useful. Now, my team is pushing into the outer ring of the cap. The enemy team currently pushed into the center section and the middle ring there. I'm going for a flanking round about the side. Wasn't really expecting to win this game, and that's when enemy Benson pops up. Not entirely sure what this Benson's planning on doing here, but he's popped his smokescreen, and he's probably done so in a little bit of a panic as he spots me. Now, unfortunately for him, I am the weird American cruiser captain that prefers to run hydroacoustic on their cruiser as opposed to running air defense or defensive fire. This means I don't have to use my radar to see him. I can just keep my hydro up, and it's going to be up for a while here, close the distance, and perma-spot him. Now, he's behind this island, so I can't shoot at him. But because I'm spotting him, my friendly teammates can. Initially, it looked like he was going to try and push out from the side there, but he decides instead he's going to back up. No matter what he does, though, he's in a bad situation. He now knows I'm here. He knows he's spotted, and he's already dumped his torpedoes. So I'm going to start firing here. He's going to start firing back, but he's firing high explosive into my belt armor. It's not really going to do a lot for him. And I've got a nice, fast reload. So there's the first kill for my team, and first blood to me. Now, I find myself in a situation where I'm dealing with a rune. You'll notice, though, this rune, Tier 9 German heavy cruiser, has run into the map border. And he's not grinding that map border either. He is literally just straight on, going nowhere. Switch over to the armor piercing here as I turn broadside. I'm trying to get turned away because I don't want to overextend and push forward. Doesn't really work for me. He punishes me pretty hard, but you'll notice he's still broadside onto me. This is going to be a major problem for him as I continue to put the hurt on him. Lots more citadels there. But pay attention to something here. I want you to notice, if you haven't already, my reload time has decreased. One of the things I've decided to take on this ship is the Adrenaline Rush skill. Partly because this ship does not have a heal, all the damage I take is going to be cumulative, and it's going to reduce my overall HP pool. With Adrenaline Rush, if you're not familiar with that skill, every bit of HP I lose gives me an extra little percent in the reload speed on my main battery gun. So I can get these guns to a point where they're firing at the same rate that it is Memes is firing, which is going to prove to come in handy in this battle. Now, my team has managed to push in. They're still holding on to the cap here. I've got my team's first 2, and so far only 2 kills. The enemy team has managed to kill one of our cruisers. Fire off shots here as I disappear behind this island at the enemy Iowa. The Iowa broadside on. Still got armor piercing loaded, but you can see we do a little bit of damage there. The armor piercing on these American ships is phenomenal. It's super heavy ammunition, and so if you find a broadsiding battleship, you can get citadels with these 8-inch guns if you're close enough to them. Speaking of broadsiding to battleships, though, one thing you absolutely do not want to do in the Baltimore is broadside, not just to battleships, as we've already seen. This enemy Salem up here, tier 10 premium U.S. cruiser, he's going to broadside to me, and he's going to broadside to the friendly Tirpitz. So that's not going to be good for him. There's my 3rd kill in the game, another 3 citadels. You'll notice something. I'm the only person on my team who's actually managed to get any kills, and the enemy has managed to take out one of our destroyers. So that's a little bit of a problem. Broadsiding Iowa again there. There's a nice 5,000 damage hit firing off at him. I'm okay firing at him because there's nothing else on his team that could really have been shooting at me. They're all blocked by islands, and he was going behind an island anyway. So this works out really well for me. Additionally, what also works out really well for me is that I've got some support coming up here with me in the form of a Tirpitz. I call him a Tirpitz and not a Dirpitz because he's actually going to do a pretty decent job over here with me. My team finally manages to score a kill that's not one that I got. This is good for me, and it's about this point that I'm starting to think, hey, you know, maybe we might actually be able to win this game. Getting my shots off there at the Iowa still get a little too far over there and boop the side of my friendly battleship. Definitely want to be in a different position now because I've come around from this island and I am in a position where the enemy ships can shoot at me, and indeed they have. And there's a couple of different ships up here. I think there's 2 North Carolinas and there's still that Iowa. So rather than push around the side with the Tirpitz, I'm going to let him tank the damage from that North Carolina, and I'm going to go the long way around, and hopefully that North Carolina's guns will be pointed the other direction. And I really, really want them to be pointed the other direction. Switch back over to the armor piercing there. I have expert reloader, so I can switch between the shells, 50% of the reload speed there. And with the adrenaline rush, it just basically means I can swap back and forth between high explosive and armor piercing at a moment's notice. Unfortunately, none of my shots land. A little bit disappointed. It would have been nice to land some more juicy citadels on that broadsiding cruiser. But hey, it's okay. I'm in a good position. Wichita still back there, still kind of broadsiding. I have the high explosive loaded. I was expecting to get this North Carolina exposed, but that's not the case. Richelieu takes the North Carolina out, so our team is now really, really in the lead. In the meantime, I'm looking at the situation. I don't want to push out past this island here because there are still a lot of big, angry battleships to deal with. But I also have to bear in mind that there's still a Wichita that's just downrange here, and that could be a little bit of a problem. Specifically, it'd be a problem for me if he decides to focus on me, because he's got the same 8-inch guns that I do. Fire off shots there, only 2,000 damage. Managed to capture the center location here, the middle ring, and now my team is going to start bringing in some points. The enemy team has a destroyer advantage now. They've managed to kill 2 of our destroyers. Normally, I do say this, the team with the destroyer advantage goes on to win, simply because destroyers are sneaky little buggers. They can get places. But because this is epicenter, everybody's going to gravitate towards that location, and you have to gravitate to the epicenter in order to win this game. Which means those destroyers, they can run and hide, or they can play to win. Now, I'm currently sitting out here, broadside on to the Kremlin. But you'll notice, he's not shooting at me. I'm not even detected. It's because I've got the detection range on this ship down nicely. So I can sit here broadside on, provided nobody spots me, without running the risk of him shooting at me. Just to make sure I pop my radar. I want to make sure that there's not a destroyer lurking around behind one of these islands who's going to come and spot me for that Kremlin, because I do not want him shooting at me. I don't want to be broadside onto a battleship in this case, especially not that one. Now, he starts turning away, and his guns are pointed a different direction. So I feel very confident and comfortable at this point opening up on him. Specifically, set some fires if possible, and cause him to start burning. All those shells, they manage to shatter, but doesn't really matter. I've got a very, very fast reload at this point because of all the damage I've taken. There's a fire set. That makes me happy. That's going to burn down now for a little bit. In the meantime, my hydroacoustic's still running, and because it's still running, I'm been able to provide spotting on these two battleships that are back here. Still being detected, the Kremlin has made a 180, he's fully turned around, more shots landing, more damage done, he's still on fire, so he's still burning. Now I have a problem though. I'm broadside onto that Kremlin. Fortunately for me, he's more focused on other things, but I've got an Iowa pushing around this island at quite literally point blank range. Might only get one shot here, but wait, his guns are not pointed at me. It's not like he didn't know I was here. I just don't know what to say here. This Iowa, totally oblivious. Not even sure he's starting to point his guns my direction. There's the citadel I was talking about. You can get on these battleships if they are close enough. And from the looks of it, the Iowa's still not paying attention to the broadsiding low-health cruiser right in front of him. He starts to turn away, which makes this shot a little weird because I just scored 8,000 damage on him. No citadels, but a good amount of damage and penetration. He's starting to be angled to the point where my armor piercing's not going to do a lot of damage, but it does do enough damage to help my team finish him off. The enemy team now down to just 2 battleships and 2 destroyers at this point. I've done 118,000 damage so far in the game, and my team has managed to capture the center location. Now, I'm currently in the outer ring, and it's not being captured simply because the enemy battleships are in the outer ring. However, we are looking like we're about to take the middle ring. So with that middle ring, that's going to provide us additional points coming in here. So we can afford to lose ships to the enemy destroyers. And it looks like the enemy destroyers are really doing a good job of working us over here. Now, I do want to be absolutely careful here, as the enemy Yamato is doing the same thing that the Iowa did here. He's starting to push around this island, and I want to be careful that if he does, I'm not sitting broadside onto him with his guns pointed at me. Simultaneously, though, kind of do want to get a little bit more damage done in here. And, there again, I have a very, very fast reload. Because he's doing the exact same thing that the Iowa is doing, I'm switching back over to my armor piercing, and hopefully I can get some nice fat broadside shots into this Yamato. And as I come out from behind this island, his guns are not pointed at me. Now, I don't fault him for that, because I was last spotted behind this. I could have been anywhere at this point. His secondaries are well within range, so they're going to open up on me, but look at his gun turrets. They've started traversing. He sees a low-health cruiser that he thinks and he knows he can blap and one-shot here. So I'm just going to try and hope and pray he doesn't get shots off into me before I'm able to sneak back behind this island. Oh, thank God his rear turrets hit the island, impacting there. Those shots go high over me. Managed to survive, probably by the skin of my teeth. Back behind the island, but I'm being detected. So somebody, and from the looks of it, one of the destroyers, is currently in the center cap location, and they are capping, and they were in direct line of sight to me when I fired. Switch back over to the high explosive, because at this point I've got a Kremlin. I'm never going to be able to hit him with the armor piercing and do any reasonable damage, and there are 2 destroyers. Here's what I was saying earlier. I'm spotted. Gun bloom not up means whatever's spotting me is a destroyer, and he's inside of my radar range. So, pop the radar. There's the Shimakaze. I'm going to put the world of hurt on this guy. He's sailing effectively in a straight line. I'm not entirely sure what he was hoping to accomplish by this. Maybe he thought he was safe from being shot at. Radar ends, and the Shimakaze disappears behind the island, so I am once again no longer detected. But that Shimakaze is very, very low health. Doesn't matter, though. He's a destroyer. A destroyer with any amount of health is going to be a serious, serious problem for anybody on the team, simply because, as you can see, he's got a bunch of torpedoes, and they are currently all in the water. If he has Adrenaline Rush on his ship, I've just basically given him a reload booster on his torpedoes, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Now, I do still have Hydro running. If I can get up behind this island and get close enough to him with my Hydro, I can keep him spotted for my team. Now, he is being spotted. I don't know if that's because he is close enough to my Hydro or because somebody else has spotted him, but he is currently spotted. He's right behind this island. At this point now, I know my Hydro can spot him because we're close enough, but I'm not in a position to shoot at him just yet. I'd really like to get those shots off at him. He's going to poke right around the corner any second. Nope, he's dead. The Iowa took him out, and that's when I find myself broadside on to the Kremlin and in detection range. Luckily for me, those look like they over-penetrated. And here come the incoming shots from his forward turrets. I'm so dead. Praise be to He, our in Jesus, our Lord and Savior, for those shots dunking into the water in front of me. That should have killed me, but it did not. Now, the Kremlin is the only thing left alive, but at this point, I'm not going to run my risk of sticking my nose out here, because my team's got 170 points, plus I set him on fire. So there's my Confederate award to go with the First Blood, and he is continuing to burn down. Provided we don't lose any more ships, we're going to win this game in a very short order, as we have 2 of the rings uncontested, and there it is. There's victory. 22,000 XP earned in that game, 18,000 free XP. If you're wondering, that's because I'm running a bunch of XP flags on this ship as I'm grinding out the line again back to the Des Moines for the Research Bureau. 153,000 damage, total 9 citadels and 3 kills. Top of the team for XP earned at 2,927 base experience. 1,100 more experience than the next nearest player. And remember, I'm a bottom tier cruiser. A bottom tier regular tech tree cruiser. So, a lovely, impressive result. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful Veterans Day and day off if you're watching this on Monday, and if you're not, well, I hope you just have a wonderful day in general. As always, I'll catch you next time. I'll see you in game, or wherever. This is Captain Rye, signing off.